Peace and blessings, family. Sister Ajali. The person on the left is Dr. Jamal Bryant, who is pastor of, I imagine, some note in the black church. And I don't know who the two male-like characters on the right are. I don't care. I care only in the same sort of stance as what may have led the black Christian church to just let in a whole bunch of homosexual males, females, I guess, too. I don't know. But I'm right now going over the male aspect of it, which is the forgiveness part, where you hope that you can be of some benefit in straightening out the folks who come to the church. And the black church, since I was a little girl, I used to, every now and then, I would get invited and I would go to a church Sunday morning, get it all together meeting. And that was because my parents were like a lot of folks nowadays. They weren't like religious. And I am really grateful for that, because the black church was not the place ever to find the correct road to the Most High, especially with white Jesus all up in there. White Jesus, first actual head of the KKK, and the KKK has a whole nother, like, just when you start learning the facts, you realize that the KKK is a setup, and so that the satanic elites can just keep clueless white folks supporting them, and they're being killed willy-nilly too. Now, all of that said, what a lot of people are patient with the black church with is that it has been a helpful organization in the black community, but we're dealing with a highly traumatized on purpose, and the traumatization never stops black population, and thereby the help that they've offered is never been able to keep up with the deluge of atrocities being waged against us. And on top of that, the black church is just nothing but a community-based Greek letter society, where if you're teaching Christianity, you're teaching KKKism, you're teaching white Jesus. I don't know how many of these places I go by and they still got that white Jesus up there. It's crazy to me, because I know as soon as you step in, there's not going to be any sanity whatsoever. And that's what struck me as a child when I went, was the irrelevance of the sermon, how it just, and it's the same way today. I've just listened to a sermon from one of these black churches about a month ago, and it just goes all around circling. It's even more pablumish than it was back then, where every other word is praise Jeebus, and, and then the light and the this. And I'm like, what's this got to do with the real dilemmas that we're facing as black families? Nothing. And during the whole scandal-ademic jib, where white man cured the flu, is amazing. The only way he did it was by locking everybody down. All right. But, oh boy, no more flu at all. It was crazy. It was amazing. All right. And I was just so completely through and done with the black church in any regard. I always have been. But at the same time, I didn't see not a nary a one of them offer any dissent to the global narrative whatsoever. And this gets me to the whole like utilization of faith-based initiative program that was started under Bush to destroy any remnant of credibility that the black church had. But it was even on the CDC's headline. They were using the black church to increase the jabberoonadoony amongst our people. No questions asked. Now everybody's running around saying, oh, it's the jab, it's the jab, it's the jab. You got to show me how all them Dead Sea creatures went up and got the jab. There's obviously something more afoot. I am not supportive of these injectables. Oh, hell no. I was the one out here screaming what was in that sucker. But the information that was what was really in that sucker was coming out from whistleblowers from Moderna. I should have been able to look at that and say, wait a minute, no, this chick is too popular. Coming up here telling all of this stuff. And that is how they do population controls. That's how they move whole millions and billions of people like herds of sheep being chased down by the sheepdog. I should have looked and asked some more questions. But I kind of got the idea that everybody was being herded to the, oh, it's the jab, it's the jab, it's the jab. And so we wouldn't ask any questions about the radioactive food on our plates. Because first off, they shut everybody down. You couldn't say a word, even though it's your body. You couldn't say anything against it. And they had all these white anti-scandalum, whatever the heck, demic thing, suddenly going on over to Rumble or to, was it the other platforms out there, because YouTube censored everybody and it's all white ones. That is one of the things they want us to do. They want us to be so desperate for some leadership that will race on over to the Republicans because they want us to think this is the new us. When, I'm sorry, but the black church, your days are numbered. Black churches are on the decline across America. And then they do have these faith-based initiative bribe programs that they introduced under Bush. So that just like, that's one of the reasons I didn't want no AdSense up on YouTube. I didn't want much. First off, I didn't know what kind of commercials they would attach to what I'm sharing. And I'm about separating from the devil. All right. And so with these churches, suddenly they're getting all this money. And you know how they are with that money. They just look at it as it's theirs. It's theirs. And thus, when the parishioners aren't there anymore, when the pews start emptying out, you're not going to get as much faith-based initiative money because that's going to be based on how many people you could drag in for your programming agenda. And they left their parishioners behind soon as they started getting the money, because how much can you get from the tills each and every single Sunday? And all of a sudden you got government funding coming in. Whoa. Those parishioners were like little concern for the folks running these churches. And the folks in the community, a lot of them, the genuine ones, knew there was going to be a conflict. These conflicts started out early on. And their scandalodemic cowardliness only increased the amount of black folks who were like, I'm out of here. Empty black pews reflect posts 2020 worship. And Bush's faith-based initiative divides the black community. So there's a lot of us waking up, as I've stated. And that's why they're rolling all of this from up top. It's not coming swelling from the grassroots, the core, us, you and me. And they're putting out all of this, oh no, we're all into the LGBTQ stuff from these folks up top who no longer going to be able to afford these friggin' super Greek color purple suits anymore. And so they're going to invite a bunch of folks on in there who are just out of their daggone minds. Ain't no future coming from any of this. So that's why it's their last days. And, this dude, the pastor, I don't even want to call him a doctor, because if I'm going by the perceived meaning of doctor, that's somebody who's beneficial. When you're promoting genocide, you ain't beneficial to anybody but the devil. And that's not the person that I give any allegiance to whatsoever. These dudes are just looking at no more money. And so they're going to bring in the concept that he was saying he's apologizing because the black church was using the skills of the homosexual community. And like we aren't skilled already. You want to tell me Aretha Franklin was hurting the black church? So heterosexual black you and me. Oh, no. We have no talents and skills whatsoever. Stop it. And we're not acknowledging their contribution and their contribution to genocide, contribution to confusion, to making vulnerable parishioners believe that you can escape the one and only who says he never changes. It's right there in the Bible. If you want to start up a new faith, then you go ahead and you do it and you put it clearly out there. But don't come in using a title of the black church. And then you're going to rope it around so you can further destroy all of us. This is a screen capture from the Netflix movie White Noise that I did an analysis on. And this is such a key setting right here, where the full intent of this social engineering is to put black you and me, and the black man definitely, because, oh my goodness gracious, they are so scared of you when you are sane. This right here ain't no meat that is just like accidentally going to have a triangle going down, and right there where I even forgot this actor's name because I was just so disappointed in him doing this role. And this is one of my favorite actors. It used to be. His face is so beautiful. His face is just so wonderful, but his brain is mush now, right? But coming soon, this is the slaughter. The slaughter they want to wage on black us. And the way they're using it is making it seem as if we are full force in favor of wokery, and that is such a lie. And so they had all these different, organizations, BLM, Black Lives Matter, admitted it is there to push the alphabet agenda. It is funded by George Soros. We know that, but you don't see us getting credit anywhere in their media for knowing that. I got this image off of Zero Hedge, where, these, not just Zero Hedge, all of them. As soon as they could get a photo with a black person advocating this lunacy, they put them front line and center, even though we don't run these organizations. But this right here, this is Tony Thurmond. And he is the California State Superintendent of Schools, pushing for local school districts to no longer have any control over any of the literature that is brought into their schools, so that it will contain, these local districts will be forced to have this alphabet nonsense forced down their throats. This is just like the, the critical race theory, which was developed by two white Harvard men. And I'm going to get back to Harvard too. That is like such a MK Ultra programming center. It ain't no joke, right? Where, I just want to separate. I don't care about no little white girls, no little white boys. I don't need to teach you nothing. You got your own. And I don't need to protest. All I know is that I'm going to homeschool mine and teach them the truth and just separate. Right? And so that was meant to piss the clueless white people off. Right? That's what they're doing with all this wokery. Only it's more excessive because it's suggesting black you and me are doing this. I couldn't even put this up on YouTube without it being excessively covered up. But that's a child. And in front of her, I imagine that's probably her older brother, though I don't know. But he looks like he has the dimensions of another child walking by completely naked dudes. This is not protested by them in any regard whatsoever. This is coming from them. How in the world will we support something like this? That is just not possible. So I checked on this dude because I know that Obama was planting gay men all over the freaking place. And not surprisingly here with the faith-based initiative program during his first gay administration. So I went and found that he was married to a white woman. They got divorced. He's got 2 non-black children as a result of it, 2 daughters. That, according to Dr. Africa, and it has been proven again and again and again, soon as you are in any regard hooked up with these people, you gay. Okay? So Dr. Africa said to be with a white woman as a black man, you are just, you're gay. It's a homosexual act because you are bowed down to their society. You are not thinking past your Johnson, past your impulses to the reproduction of yourself. Brother, mighty brother Chris Miller of Mad Black TV did an incredible share. First off, the most important part of the share was not how he just gave me such supportive words as far as, what I provide for him in terms of encouragement. It was more about his analysis where he said, I'm married to a black woman and thereby I have perpetuated myself. I have increased my reflection throughout our black society. Right? You don't do that when you hook up with them in any regard. What full man, exits himself from the planet? He creates a dynasty that goes on forever. And so this dude, he just hand selected, all of them hand selected. This chick here, same thing too. Oh, she's a black lesbian from Harvard again. Hooked up, she even says right here, she's hooked up with some white woman. And they have 2 children. You think that happened naturally? Of course not. Right? And it would be sorrowful if they were black, actually, because woe to the suckling babe. That is really just such a crime to commit against a child, to bring them into perversion that creates nothing. And so they got her up here because there are black us who are waking up. And so they got her up here like I'm against trans sutured up folks going into women's athletics. Ta-da! How obvious would that one be? That's a no-brainer. But you don't get the fact that you have exited yourself from existence? Yeah, you about as perfect product of Harvard as there could ever be. And so they're trying their best to just put a false wokery face on us. And so that they have this dude, I don't care about him, with his song, Try That in a Small Town, and talking about guns and all the rest of it. This some KKK brainwashing for the clueless white people. Don't realize how many people in your family died of cancer or died of flesh-eating bacteria recently, since Fukushima fallout, since all them nuclear power plants, since the friggin' atomic bomb testing, that most of them were conducted in Nevada, around you. You guys are so stupid. You're so damn stupid that you fall for the flattery of we're tough, or we're big, we got guns. Get a brain instead, okay? Because we don't support BLM. You're going to do what you're going to do. That's why I love what the Most High recommended. Separate. So these dudes are like, make woke companies go broke. Now there's new apps because they want to just instill this whole, it's not divide and conquer, because the division happened the minute that these ingrates thought they could capture a whole nation's worth of people and force them to labor on their behalf here in the unentitled snakes of America that was nothing but a friggin' mud pit, so that they could beat Europe, because they got small, teeny, tiny little egos. I won't say anymore. Teeny, tiny little egos that made them need to have this stolen nation be as filled with, structural amazement as was stolen back in Europe. But it took Europe about 1,000 years to build those structures up off of graft and corruption. Over here, they stole black us. That's the only reason why the unentitled snakes developed itself within 150 years. Right? And so these dudes are just, I don't blame them for this. That's why I'm like, I thank you to the 3 brothers who just bought my soap, and it was another brother who bought the liposomal vitamin C, and other brothers who family, sisters who just go and they buy Dr. Z's products, which are amazing. They're amazing. Go to 25,000 years cycle and get your heal on, because you get the full knowledge from us. Those people who are not going to have limits, where I'm going to talk about that radiation and how it figures into everything. All of this for the satanic elites is necessary because Fukushima leaves them no damn time. That's why it's gotten so ridiculous. Cocaine in the White House. Oh my God, I'm not saying it wasn't there before, but they own the media. So anything that's up there on the headlines, that's what they want to do their social engineering. That's because they run out of time. Drag queen story out? What? Your children walking down the street, bunch of naked perverts standing around? What? No shame? That's crazy. Hella weird, telling all the actresses walk around with no daggone clothes on. You got Silly Porter up there in a dress? Come on. This is on purpose. This is war. This is a Rothschild's party that Marina Abramovic and her crew redid themselves. Just before all the stuff got started, they brought up all them daggone Satanists. Because they knew we need liars. And we know Satanists got absolutely no problem lying for dear life. And because that's what they got to fear. Right? And so this is a Rothschild masquerade party where, they were making their mannequins out of cake and eating it. That's what it's all about. Us. This is easy. This is who amongst us would be supporting this nonsense? Trans surgery nightmares reveal 81% endure pain in the 5 years after gender change procedures. More than half say having sex is painful, and a third are left incontinent. What the hell? You ain't seen Gabrielle or Union or whatever the heck her wife is getting up there saying, maybe we made a mistake by making Zion completely out of his mind. You ain't going to see that because these are the people on top. They do as they're told. And they want black us. So completely frustrated with our inability to scream loudly so we feel like, okay, people hear me. They want us to race on over to the daggone Republicans. Like that is going to be some sort of rescue when the Republicans aren't saying dookie crap about how they haven't changed their conclusions about us. I was just listening to different apocalyptic fiction written by Republicans. And as far as they're concerned, all of us, we are just a bunch of criminal lunatics. And they never mention the fact that we don't drop none of these daggone bombs anywhere. Hey? We are not shipping Fukushima food in, grown in soil that is even more radioactive now, because radiation turns everything around it radioactive, than it was during the explosions at Fukushima Daiichi. We don't do that. So here we have Georgia Democrat defector Mesha Maynor reveals her daughter 17 is helping run her office as a new Republican after her entire team departed after her spontaneous switch. I'm quite sure that she was just a shill undercover. I'm just saying. That's my conclusion, all right? But this is what they want us to do. To stay in hell by going from demon A to demon B. That ain't gonna work. So see the game and know if you play it, you are wasting vital, heavenly time lingering around in hell. Yep. Go to 25,000yearcycle.org and get your heal on. And again, thank you for those who are done with the lunacy. And you made those purchases, because when I get to Capitol, I'm going to do what these devils will never do. And that's test our food for radiation, because I know what that stuff does. Ain't no pretending on my part that, oh, maybe I can ignore it. No. We must have our food tested, because without you, there is no me. I love you. Straight black family pride. And that is the beginning of forever. Peace and blessings.